From March 6th to March 10th, we went on a school trip to Edinburgh. This is what we experienced. On Monday, it was time to get onto the bus. The bus trip took 2 hours, and then we arrived at the ferry. Our ferry was from DFDS Seaways, and since we will be on the boat for 15.5 hours, we got our own cabins. The cabins were small but comfortable, and sleeping with the boat moving on the waves was very relaxing, and there was plenty to do on the big boat. One tip though, if you have to travel to Edinburgh by boat, make sure no school trips are planned on the day you plan to go. Some kids were quite loud. After the boat arrived in Newcastle on Tuesday morning, we still had to sit through another 3-hour-long bus drive. Finally, we were able to check into the hostel. The 7 classes that went on the trip were divided into 3 hostels. My class stayed at the Scottish Youth Hostel. On Tuesday afternoon, we immediately started with the activities. Our class first went to the Palace of Holyrood House, the official residence of Her Majesty the Queen of Scotland. It is now mostly open to the public. When we got there, they gave us a small phone-looking device. It was filled with audio files. You listened to a new tape every time you entered a new room. I thought it was very handy, and you could go through the palace at your own pace. The palace itself was beautiful, and the voice from the audio files was soothing and nice to listen to. After that, we got some shopping time. We went to the underground shopping center in the newer part of town. It was filled with cool food places and shops, and I recommend going there. It had all kinds of food, and if you're an anime fan, there was even an anime store. After that, we went back to the hostel and went to bed. We woke up, we had breakfast at the hostel, and we immediately went out again. This time we went to the famous Edinburgh Castle and the War Museum. The castle itself is huge, and it is arguably the most famous museum in Edinburgh. Back in the day, the castle was mostly used for defense as a vantage point, because it stands on one of the highest mountains in Edinburgh. You can easily see the whole city and the other part of land across the water. If someone wanted to attack, they'd have to cross the water first. It was a great place to build a castle for defense, and they could even fire cannons if necessary. Now it's just a museum open to the public. To make sure we paid attention to every detail, we had a sheet of exercises to fill in. We had to go to different places in the castle and answer all the questions. There were lots of wonderful places you had to look. You can also see the Scottish crown jewels and the Stone of Scone, where all the Scottish kings got crowned. We also went to the War Museum that's inside the Edinburgh Castle, which is filled with old weapons, armor, and other old materials used in the war. After we were done in the Edinburgh Castle, we moved on to the National Museum of Scotland. The museum was filled with all kinds of exhibits, like the animal exhibit, technology exhibit, art exhibit, and more. With 7 floors, there is a lot to explore. The last places we went to before dinner was the House of Parliament and the Royal Mile. We got some explanation about the Scottish Parliament and how it compares to the Dutch electoral system. After that, we got some free time to explore the Royal Mile and discovered the shops. After dinner, we had a ghost tour with multiple legends and ghost stories told by the guide. It really freaked some people out, and it was a great way to end the day. The environment was spooky, and the guide did a great job telling the scary stories. Our last day in Edinburgh. Before we left, we decided to climb Arthur's Seat. This mountain is 250 meters high, and you can take multiple routes to different parts of the mountain. Arthur's Seat got its weird shape because it's the biggest hill formation of the Arthur's Seat volcano. 350 million years ago, the volcano eroded into the shape it has now. Back in the day, it taught us many things about geology. That afternoon, it was time to get back to Newcastle and onto the ferry. After another night on the ferry and a bus trip, we were finally back home. It was a shame we had to leave Edinburgh after all the fun we had, but I'm so glad we went there, and I'll remember this trip for a long time. I really recommend visiting Edinburgh if you haven't yet. On Thursday afternoon, we immediately started with the activities. Our class first went to the Our class first went to the Palace of Holyrood House, the official residence of Her Majesty the Queen of The museum was filled. Okay, blah, blah, blah. We got some explanation about the Scottish Parliament and how it compares to the Dutch Thursday afternoon, after we immediately started with the Thursday afternoon, voice crack. On Thursday afternoon, we immediately. I can't do this.